Yo, what's up everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of Mundo's news program. I'm recording this on September 28th, 2023. I'm your host, Mundo Carrillo. I hope you guys are doing well. So today, I want to talk about something that happened in the little old town of Espanola, New Mexico. Happened over the reintroduction of a controversial Spaniard conquistador from the late 1500s. There's a whole thing, so I'm gonna try to go over the history of this as well as I can. So Juan de Onate, he was a conquistador from Spain back in the late 1500s. He explored a lot of Mexico and northern New Mexico. A lot of the southern part of the United States. Was really the first European to do so. Again, this was the late 1500s, so this is well before any other Europeans had gotten to the Americas, unless you believe that the Vikings were here first or whatever. But anyway, so Juan de Onate, he was one of the first people for the Spaniards to come and kind of explore the New World, as it were. And as a result, I suppose that statues were erected to him and streets were named after him, stuff like that. And today, years after a statue was removed, depicting him riding a horse, was removed from Espanola, or in the Espanola area, the county commission there in Espanola tried to put it back, basically causing a whole lot of controversy. And there was a demonstration there today, and one person was shot and taken to the hospital. The alleged shooter, was arrested, and I imagine will be charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon or something like that. So again, Onate, a controversial figure here in New Mexico, especially within the last few years. Well, maybe like the last, we'll say 20 years. I mean, he's always been a controversial figure here, but really, like monuments depicting him, streets, things like that. People have been really trying to change the name there. So as I was saying, today, on Thursday, the statue that was removed a few years ago was set to go back up outside of the county commission headquarters in Espanola, New Mexico. So New Mexico, if you guys don't really know, Albuquerque's pretty much like smack dab in the middle of the state. Santa Fe, the capital, is about an hour north, and about half an hour north of that is Espanola. And this statue had been there for several years. Back in 1998, someone had cut off the foot of the statue. We'll kind of get back to the significance of that later. And just a few years ago, 2017, someone had painted the foot red after it had been put back on. So in 2020, it had just been removed amid a bunch of protests and controversy, and for whatever reason at all that I just can't understand, they decided to bring it back. That, of course, led to these protests. People had been camping out there for a few days, just demonstrating against it. And as a result, yesterday on Wednesday, the rededication, or whatever you want to call it, was canceled out of the safety of people involved, or whatever, right? Whatever political reason they gave. So today's little demonstration at the spot where the statue was going to be rededicated kind of was supposed to be like a little like celebratory thing. Like people were like eating food and like, just hanging out, celebrating their small little victory. You know what I mean? But of course, counter protesters showed up. According to the Santa Fe New Mexican, several people wearing the red MAGA hat, Make America Great Again. You know the hat. They showed up. They were kind of counter protesting or whatever, and there was a bit of a scuffle. And a man named Ryan Martinez, who was wearing one of those MAGA hats, he pulled out a gun and shot a man named Don Jacobs, who was reportedly a Native American man from Spokane, Washington. Jacobs was taken to the hospital. Johns was taken to the hospital. Martinez was arrested a short time later after he sped off in a white Prius, reportedly. Let's just talk about that for a sec. That's hilarious, right? A MAGA guy driving a Prius. But I thought the MAGA people loved their gasoline, loved their combustion engines. But anyhow, he was arrested. I saw online somewhere, I believe, that Mr. Johns was taken to a hospital in Espanola, but then airlifted to a hospital in Albuquerque. No word on his condition right now, but everything looked chaotic. There was a video circulating on Twitter of the scuffle. It looks like Martinez was kind of getting into it with a few dudes. He was outnumbered, so he kind of got away, pulled a handgun from his waistband, shot one time, apparently hitting Johns. The video doesn't show the impact or anything from the bullet or anyone getting shot. And then he runs off as there's kind of chaos. going on. So there's that video, and there was an amazing photo that my former coworker and my friend Eddie Moore took of the shooter basically pointing the gun at him, at the camera. It's an amazing shot. I'll link to the story in the show notes here. I mean, that should win an award. I mean, he stood there and took a photo as the shooter was aiming towards him, basically, while everyone else was running. That just takes bravery and poise, and I'm just so proud of him for taking that shot. It's an incredible shot that the whole nation should take a look at. But anyways, so that happened. That happened earlier today. This isn't the first time that someone had been shot over a protest over a Onate statue. A few years ago, in 2020, in Albuquerque, there was a statue, pretty much a very similar statue of the guy riding a horse in Old Town, Albuquerque. And there was a big protest there. People wanted to remove it. And there was another scuffle. This dude named Stephen Ray Baca was just kind of being an asshole, honestly, and just causing trouble over there. And he yanked a woman down, just kind of threw her to the ground. And of course, like, other people got involved, like, hey man, what the hell, get out of here. Someone actually swung a skateboard at him, just that, which is violent. I mean, don't do that. And the guy pulled out a gun and shot a dude like 7 times. It was nuts. He was arrested and charged. I was working for the Albuquerque Journal at the time. I wasn't there at that particular protest, but I did cover the hearings afterwards, and I had to listen to the victim talk about just being shot, what it was like to be shot several times, and pretty rowdy stuff. So just in the last few years, there have been shootings regarding the statues of this man, and it's pretty wild. So Onate, let's talk about Onate and why he's controversial. As I said, an explorer, a conquistador, whatever, traveling around what is now New Mexico, and what he's most, I guess, controversial for is the what's called the Yakima massacre. So what happened was the Yakima peoples, they apparently ambushed some Spaniards and killed them, about 11 or 13 Spaniards, and one of those Spaniards was Onate's nephew. So he wanted revenge, so he actually wanted to wipe out the entire pueblo. So he gave out the order, and about 800 to 1,000 Yakima people were killed in this massacre, and 24 surviving warriors had their foot cut off. So that's the significance of the whole foot thing, right? And other hundreds of survivors, boys, women, whatever, they apparently had their toes cut off. They were also forced into hard servitude after that. Some history books, I guess, there's talk as to whether he cut off everyone's foot, including those people he forced into servitude, but that's probably not accurate because they wouldn't be very good servants with just one foot, right? So he likely just cut off a lot of toes, which is still horrible, but he didn't want to cut off the entire foot apparently, so he just cut off some toes. So anyways, committed horrible atrocities against the Yakima people, and Yakima Pueblo is just west of what is now Albuquerque, New Mexico. So anyways, he gets back to Spain. He goes on trial and convicted of excessive force for what he did in Yakima, and he's basically just shunned away in disgrace for the rest of his life in Spain. And that's kind of why I guess I don't understand why he's so revered here in New Mexico, why there are statues to him and things like that. When he was in Spain at the time, he was basically a criminal. He was just convicted for the horrible atrocities that he had committed here. So I'm not sure why he's so revered to this day, hundreds of years later. I was talking to my buddy a few years back. He has a history degree, and he's a history teacher now, so he knows this stuff. And we were talking about it, like, why do people care about this guy? Why are there all these things named after him? And it's just, we were thinking maybe it's just because he was like the first Spaniard to explore these parts, and therefore bring in the Spanish people. New Mexico, if you guys don't know, is very, very Spanish, very Hispanic, about 50% Hispanic, which is kind of wild when you think about it compared to other states. We're easily the most Hispanic state in the nation. And so just a lot of history, a lot of Spaniards here. Of course, we're gonna revere some of the Spaniards that came before us, I guess. But this guy, I don't know if he's worthy of it, because even Spain itself back in the day was like, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just don't know why he's revered like that. And as far as the county, the Rio Arriba County, that's where Espanola is. As far as them wanting to bring the statue back after after all these years of controversy and all that, it's just a dumb move, man. I just don't understand. You know it's going to stoke flames. You know it's going to cause controversy. Dude, there was a shooting at a statue a few years prior in Albuquerque. Like, what were you thinking, right? Am I going nuts? Like, what were you thinking? You knew. You knew people were going to be upset and that people might get hurt. I don't understand it. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what these people were thinking. I completely shun this action. I don't think it should have happened. Regardless of whether you think he was a great guy or he was a piece of shit or whatever, it's gonna cause controversy. There's gonna be protests. People might get hurt again. People were hurt again. I don't fucking get it. They should be partially held responsible as well. Yes, none of them pulled a gun and shot somebody. I get it. But, I mean, they caused this again. Like, be better leaders. Be better. You should have known. You should have known this was going to happen. You guys. Oh, boy. So that's really all I have to say today, guys. I hope Mr. Johns is okay. I hope Mr. Martinez is persecuted to the full extent of the law. That's a cliche, but yeah, I mean, he's probably going to, I'm sure he's going to claim self-defense. His lawyer's going to do what he has to do. That's fine. That's totally fine. But I don't know. Just seems like he was kind of being an instigator. And he got away. That's the thing, too. He did kind of get away. He could have just ran off. He didn't have to shoot the guy. He just did not have to. It didn't have to get to that. So I hope he's prosecuted. I really do. Anyways, guys, that's all I have to talk about today. I really appreciate you guys listening. Thank you to the Patreon supporters, Daniel, Tony, Andres, and Emily. I love you guys, man. If you guys want to support me, head over to patreon.com/Mundo'sNewsProgram. All right, folks. Until next time, my name is Mundo, and I'm out. Peace.